Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray, and we are here to jump into episode 2 of My Personal Weatherman. So, first episode, I just watched it. We got to know our two principal characters and their basic dynamic, at least right now, for the last 3 years. They've been shacking up, let's say. But with a specific caveat where the mangaka is a kept man and the weatherman is his sugar daddy. Like, I don't know how else to say it. That's what he is. And they only have sex the day before a sunny day. So if it's raining, then they're not having sex. They're about to enter into another rainy season, so we're gonna have a long period of them not having sex, basically, until I guess they change the rule, or something, which I guess could happen. It's a very murky situation, consent-wise, given the fact that I mean, it's technically consensual because he absolutely asked him, "Hey, do you want to live with me? These are the, you know, things that are going to happen while you're living with me." And the other guy was like, "Sure, yes." But there's also an inherent power imbalance, right? Because he was also kind of in a point in his life where he's experiencing desperation, where he has this dream of being a mangaka, but he can't realize that and make money because he's not popular. So he was about to be forced to give up his dream, and then this guy came along and presented this arrangement. So it's not a. This is where you get into the murkiness where technically that power imbalance is such that he was at a low point in his life, and so presenting him with a sexual arrangement like that at that point in his life is manipulation. It's not good. So I'm interested to see if they can equalize in some way. And I don't necessarily mean get rid of their DS relationship, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about entering into a sexual relationship in which the romantic and sexual aspects are contingent upon his ability to live, like food, room and board, food, taking care of him both, financially, that aspect of it is actually the part that's more unbalanced than anything that's happening with the DS stuff. Like, the DS stuff is whatever. Like, whatever. You guys have an arrangement where at home he gets to tell you what to do and then y'all fuck. Like, whatever. Who cares about that? Like, it's about the fact that he low-key kind of took advantage of him and his low point in order to get him to live with him. And that's the part that's a little icky. It's a little icky. It's a little icky. I didn't talk about it in the last episode, but it's a little icky. I was thinking that the moment he was like that, and then you have this other layer where he's thinking of sex as intimacy, as something dirty, and it's like, are we conflating that? Because is that some kind of manifestation or representation of internalized, homophobia, or, compet or something like that? Is it, is it some kind of metaphor for just, his own sexual repression? Like, it's hard to say. So I'm interested in seeing how the story unfolds in terms of that one aspect, because if he had just approached him like a regular dude, like I did mention this, if he had just approached him and was like, "Hey, I think I like you, let's start dating," and then he revealed this part of himself that likes to be in a DS, situation, and said, hey, do you want to, are you okay if we adjust our relationship in this way? Obviously, he's not going to use those exact words, but I mean, like, if he had approached it in that way, it would be very different. But because he's like financially dependent on him and he doesn't have any other choice, otherwise he has to give up part of himself. Like, it's not like he was completely financially sound and they entered into this as like, you don't have to actually work anymore, I can take care of you. But he actually has that option of working, you know, like that's where it gets a little murky. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're here, we're gonna watch the rest of the series. It's not like I'm gonna stop halfway through or anything like that, like so we're gonna watch and see where it takes us. I'm very curious to see how it's gonna end. I don't anticipate any kind of tragic ending for this one. Like, it could happen, I guess, but like, unlikely. I think it's going to be a fairly happy story, a happy ending for the most part. But the question is whether or not we're going to be satisfied with that happy ending. We'll see. All right, let's jump into episode 2. No more time to waste. Let's just go ahead. All right. Okay. Last episode, we just learned that there's about to be a rainy season. And he was like, I won't have to have sex with him anymore. Which flipped it from my understanding is that he was anticipating the sunny day. Now it's like, oh, okay, no, he doesn't want to have sex with him. Okay. Or is he lying to himself about it? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We'll see.
しばらくしなくていいんだ。そもそもあの妙ちきりんな自分ルールを曲げないとも限らないし。
Yeah, he could just break that rule.
溜まってきたら手出されるかもしれないし。だから。
I imagine that he would just actually announce the end of that rule. So, like, he wouldn't just randomly break it. He would like sit down and say, "Hey, I want to change this." Oh, is she getting married? Not the jealousy arc. Oh, we about to have a jealousy arc, y'all. Yeah, I think he might just be in denial about how he feels about him. We had that conversation with his friend who was like, you watch him every day. Like, for hours. Just the Weather Channel. You like him. And he was all, no, I just like the way his face looks. I don't like him. I just like the way his face looks. All right.
肉茶が。あ、そう。
He gives nothing. It's so hard to read this dude. Like, no wonder this dude is feeling really unmoored and doesn't know what, you know, is.
俺も食う。
I mean, personally, I'm like, yeah, but this was what I made for me. This is the exact amount to fill me up. If I feed you, I'm no longer going to be full. Are you going to come home anyway and eat my meal? What the hell? Are you really not going to eat?
しっかり食べといて。何なんだよ、その言い草。
Make your plate extra large tonight. Because he's going to come home and eat. I'm just tripping off of him theming his sexual relationship, though, around his job. Like, like, imagine me putting down rules about my sexual relationship around my job. I could not. Once I leave work, it's done. I don't even want to think about work anymore.
当然 触れられることもないままに。すっかり日々は過ぎて。
Not him losing energy. What's happening? Is he making a ghost? Dumpling? Oh, it's supposed to look like his face? His proportions? Mm-hmm. I knew we were about to get a jealousy arc.
これ梅雨の時期って湿度が高くてカビが生えやすいからカビに雨と書いて梅雨と呼んでいたものに梅の字を当てたっていう通説があるので
Oh, so there's like it's like a lifestyle channel.
ああ、いいかも。じゃあ、
And
そこ
they
に付け加えても
okay.
らって
I haven't watched the weather since I was like 12.
はい
I just look online at an app.
助かるわ。はいよろしく。はい。
I do not remember all of this with the weather channel.
今日も残業ですか？滝さんがあの手の女と同じ空気吸ってんのが無理。
Oh, it's going to get real interesting when she finds out that he's with him.
記憶正しいセガサキオタクとしては。
Ooh, now him about to get jealous of his friend.
だよちゃん？聞こえてる？だよちゃん。
Honestly, Sis should shoot her shot. She don't know if he's dating somebody. Like, do your thing, girl.
今日さ、日吉さんの歓迎会がてら軽く飯でも行くかって話してたんだけど、瀬ヶ崎ももしよかったら。
すいません今日は久々に早く帰れるのでお先に失礼します
Ooh.
待ってる子がいるんだろうな。
視聴者泣きますね。
なんだ。そうなんですね。
So she's super cute. Oh my god. And the titties are tittying. She said, eh. I love it. Not his pants down. I didn't even notice that.
何なんだよこのエロい惨状は
Was he? Okay, I just caught on to what was happening.
コエロ漫画家になるんだ。
なんだそれ
便利な奴隷としか思ってないんだろ。
That's what I was saying. He's probably feeling like confused. Like, does he even really like me? Or did he want a
隣の
slave?
キャスターとやってろよ。
Now the jealousy is about to be revealed.
さっきから何
No, but for real, what? What a night.
あんな風に笑いかけられたことない。
Not drawing. Him smiling. Him all drunk with his pants down is so funny, actually. It's a bit sad, but it's also really funny.
疲れた。あんたといると疲れる。
Oh.
嫌いだ。
Okay, I'll talk about it after. I'll talk
な
about
ん
it
で
after.
雨の時はダメなの？
はだってお前が言ったんだろ
お
お前が引っ越してきて初めてやった時に
He said something that made him change the rules. Okay. What did he say? I hate the rain or something?
どうしよう。乾くかな。一枚しかないのに。
So his answer was we only have sex
これから
when it's sunny so that they can wash and dry the
準備し
sheets
とけよ
instead of just buying more sheets. Buying a dryer, an in-unit dryer. I am
困んないよう
flabbergasted.
にだろ俺は優しいんだ
乾燥機とか買えば
We could just want a dryer.
そんなに俺としてんだ俺の金を保証してやるから俺んとこに来い
I mean, that didn't sound that romantic. You could have said, "Be my
養ってや
boyfriend."
るっつってんだプロポーズ以外に何
やっぱりこの人この
Marry
人っ
me,
てマジで
nothing.
お前ほんとバカだ
So for 3 years, what'd you think was happening?
言葉足りね
He does. That was a bit confusing. But also, him deciding to say we won't have sex except on sunny days because he was like, man, will the sheets wash? Will the sheets dry if I wash them? What? Is he about to cry? Is he embarrassed?
でもじゃあ違うって言ってしまったらそれは俺が言った嫌いを否定することになってつまりは
You like him.
ダメだ違うもう何も正解がわからない
Not up all night. If he still ain't got pants on, I'm gonna die.
ふとあの日を振り
This
返
is
り
the
胸
hold
が
on.
キュッと苦しい
So we've peeled back some more of the mystery. So he put down the rule about only having sex during sunny days because of an offhand comment from what was his name? Not Dayo, I think his name is. An offhand comment from him about how difficult it'll be to dry the sheets because it's raining so much. Instead of buying a dryer, just like I said, just like he said, or having multiple sets of sheets instead of just one sheet. Like, buy like 10 pairs of sheets. I don't know. Like, does he have a car? Run them shits to the laundromat down there. Like, if you don't want to buy an in-unit dryer, take the sheets to the local laundromat. Like what? So interesting. Wasn't any kind of deep reason. He just took that comment literally. Interesting. Also, we did finally get to the root of it with is it Dayo or Daho? So 1 second. All right, sorry, I was just looking up this guy's name. Okay, it's Dayo. Is his nickname. His actual name is Tanada Yo. So his friend probably calls him Dayo as like a nickname that's pulling from his first name and his last name. Oh, also, I looked up the weatherman dude to see if I recognize his face. I do, from the show Marry Me. He was in the first episode of that. I couldn't place him because he was only in like one episode. He was a very short appearance. But I remember him from that J-drama. Yeah, so I did recognize his face. Anyway, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, we got to the root of the, I guess the conundrum with Dayo's feelings, where he is actually attracted to and genuinely wants to be with Segasaki, but he doesn't know where he stands with him, because he's felt like this relationship has been one-sided, where Segasaki gets something out of their relationship. He gets, you know, a servant, a slave, as he calls it, sex, and he just wants control over him, but there's no feelings, like he doesn't actually like him as anything more than, you know, a servant, somebody who has to obey him. So he's been feeling like that's the reason that he's slowly been losing, I don't want to say interest, but he's just been becoming more disengaged from their intimacy, because he feels like, oh, this isn't a real relationship, I'm just here as a servant. And he has no emotional stakes in this relationship, whereas he has been kind of acknowledging that he's growing more and more attached, but not wanting to verbalize it, because he feels like once he verbalizes it, probably he'll be at a loss, because he thinks that Segasaki doesn't feel anything for him. So we've kind of uncovered some of that relationship. And the reason is because the way they started was very confusing. Segasaki thought, oh, I'm being very clear that this is me asking you out to date, and just being upfront about the kind of dating that I like. Whereas, you know, from Daio's side, he's thinking, oh, this is an impersonal relationship, I'm just being used, you know. He had absolutely no clarity about that, but probably because he thought he was cute and he liked him a little bit, he was like, all right, well, this is, you know, an opportunity for me in a number of ways. And then 3 years later, he's feeling like their relationship isn't going anywhere, that nothing is happening, nothing is changing. He's still at an emotional loss. Interesting. And it all, of course, stemmed from miscommunication and under negotiating this relationship. As I mentioned in the first episode, that it felt like they were entering in this severely under negotiating it. And I feel like if they had actually genuinely sat down and like really, really talked it out and had clear understanding of what their relationship was going to be and what they wanted out of it, maybe they wouldn't be in this predicament. So we also have the new character, the new Weather Woman character, who is, you know, very clearly into Segasaki, and she's super into him. I wonder if she used to watch the channel and decided to try and become a host on there because of him. Like, she showed up to work all dolled out, her cute little short haircut and her titties tittying, you know, like she was like ready to catch herself a man. But unfortunately, he already has a man of his own, so it's not gonna go anywhere. Interesting. I'm quite curious to see what's gonna happen once Daio's friend finds out that he's dating or seeing or whatever in a situationship with Segasaki. It'll be very interesting. I wonder which way she'll swing. She could either swing like really terrible and become really terrible towards him, or she could have like maybe a moment of emotional like, I can't believe you didn't tell me, and then get over it. Could go either way, so we'll see. I hope they don't isolate him. The only reason I don't want her to have a really terrible reaction is because she appears to be his only friend, and I think he desperately needs a relationship outside of his romantic relationship. Like, he seems very lonely. Like, we don't know anything about him other than he lives with this man. He's a manga artist, he's a mangaka, and he has this one friend. But we don't know anything about him. So I want her to still be part of his support, because otherwise he'll be completely isolated. And he needs more than just the Segasaki in his life. He just does. We've never even met his editor, nothing, nobody at his work, nothing. So he seems very isolated. He's very isolated, which is, of course, not necessarily good in any relationship. Not always. There are exceptions, of course, but for most people, that kind of isolation is not good. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so we got some bit of jealousy from him, but of course he's feeling like he's not emotionally, involved with him, that it's just sex, it's just about sex and control, and it's not about emotion. So of course the moment he sees him being even slightly, friendly with somebody else, he became jealous. He's not feeling secure in that relationship at all. And apparently he's not feeling secure in his job because he feels like, he's not making good erotic manga. I guess this was kind of like, we saw the pictures on the wall of like people's hands, holding wrists and stuff like that. And there were a couple of shots of the female character in his manga doing that whole like erotic look that happens in manga. So I had a pretty good idea that he was drawing hentai, but I wasn't 100% until this episode when he said it that he's looking to draw the most erotic manga. So he decided to jerk off while drawing. Sure, that'll do it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to see if I wonder if he's gonna pivot his art. Like, it's reminding me very heavily of that one manga that one J-drama that I mentioned earlier, which is also based off of a manga, of the guy who like is trying to draw, and he has like this writer's block, and he just pivots. He just had to pivot. I wonder if we're gonna get something similar for this guy, where he just finally just, this is the third BL that I've watched in which one of the main characters was a manga artist and the other one was something else. There was this one, there was the other Japanese one which had the really long name that I cannot say, I'm sorry y'all. And there was the KBL, which was fucking terrible, that had a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happened that made that terrible, because they had to like try and reshoot it without the main lead because he got arrested for I won't get into it. We if you've seen that KBL, you can look it up. I don't remember what the name of it was, but like he was also, the main dude was also a manga artist in that one. I can't remember if he did erotic art, but he might have. I think that one might have also been erotic art. And he had the editor who was like trying to, spice up. No, it was erotic because the editor kept trying to spice up the art as well. Yeah, this is the third show I've seen use that trope. Interesting. Interesting. I guess it's a very popular one. News to me, I guess. All right, no, it was a good episode. I think they did a good job of like finally delving a bit more into their relationship and giving us a chance to really understand not just what their situation was, which is what the first episode did, but rather how they feel about it. Because I feel like now we have an understanding of, actually, the mangaka actually really, really likes this guy that he's been living with and sleeping with for 3 years. And he wants their relationship to progress, but he doesn't know how to get it to where it needs to be. And then he got drunk and finally just said what he was feeling instead of that weird, oppressive, don't know, where he wasn't able to like verbalize what he was feeling, until he got drunk. And I guess shot a couple of them off, relaxed and relieved his stress a little bit there. I don't know, but we got to understand how he feels about their relationship and how dissatisfied he is with their current relationship. And then on the other side, we got to see, oh, actually, this weatherman guy really does like this dude. Like, he's not just doing it as a way to control him. He's not approaching this relationship in the way you would expect. So he's a bit enigmatic in the way he talks. He's not being very clear necessarily. He thinks he's being clear, but he's not, because the other guy was super fucking confused for 3 years. So, and we, the audience, were confused. So he's a very, closed person, and he's not being, I don't know, not expressive isn't the right word, but a little bit of that, but it's more like he's not being clear in what his intentions are. And so that's been causing confusion. So I think they both have room to learn there, in order to get to the ideal relationship that they want to have, where they're both satisfied and they're both happy and they're both being, edified by their relationship with each other. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm ready to jump into episode 3. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I had a good time with this one. All right. Yeah, let me know what you guys think so far. I guess I'll have to cut this up because there was a lot of sexual content in this, so a lot of this ain't going on YouTube just because of that. But we'll see how I can, split it up so that you guys can see it on YouTube. Yeah, but if not, if you can't catch it on YouTube, feel free to jump over to my Patreon, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Whatever, all this ever, but you long gone, it don't matter.